What is up, guys? It's Dirty Oatmeal, finally getting back into reviewing movies again. I'm sorry, I know it's been a long time since a movie video or almost any video, but I've just been working a lot of music lately, and I feel like I've always had an excuse when it comes to my inconsistency with this channel, but I really am sorry. I can assure you that I'm gonna pour a lot more time into this. Just bear with me, because I do love talking about movies and making music as well. So I thought, what better film to get me back into reviewing movies than Scott Pilgrim. This has been a long awaited film review for my channel. Jacob, this one is for you. So let's get right into the video. So the plot is pretty straightforward, despite the first act being a little choppy and a bit hard to understand what's going on at some parts, because there's dream sequences and stuff, and because of the tone of the movie, you don't really know what is actually happening sometimes, because this movie is very fictional and video game styled. There's a lot of personality to it, which is what I like about the movie. So the film follows Scott Pilgrim dating a high schooler. Along the way, he dreams of this really pretty girl that he eventually sees in real life, and he starts to try to date her and cheating on the first girl. Her name is Knives. In the process of beginning to date the new girl, Ramona Flowers, there's tons of unique names and characters in this movie, which is what I love about it. And this was my first time ever watching the movie, so there was a lot to like about it, though the two girls have their first awkward encounter, and the camera movements and cinematography are really good. I love the way they use the camera really well to capture awkward tones or moments. You could just really see it in the characters and the way the camera just moves and sets up the tone for a scene. And since they meet up at this band gig that Scott Pilgrim and his band are playing at, it would be a good time to bring up the movie's unique music. The film has so much personality to it, and the music is just that cherry on top. It's not such an artistic art style of music or musical storytelling like in Shrek, and it's not like beautiful music either like you would see in Kill Bill or a Sergio Leone film, but it's, just since the movie has that video game art style and tone to it, I think the choice of the 2010s like upbeat rock is the perfect choice of music for the movie, and the music just is very consistent throughout the film, which is also a pretty good thing to note. So during the next meetup, he has the fight with the first evil ex-boyfriend of Ramona Flowers, and this fight scene is pretty cool. It has so much video game inspired art, and I guess choreography as well, but all the scenes in the movie are consistently entertaining, all the fight scenes at least. So the next evil ex is this Hollywood actor with a big ego. He's played by Chris Evans, and Scott basically tricks him into exploding while doing a skateboard trick, and it plays out pretty funny. A lot of the humor in this movie really lands because it's not really like super intellectual or dark humor or anything. It's just someone almost anyone can laugh and have a good time too. Like the other ex, this ninja girl who he has to fight along the way, she dies in a very funny way, and all these exes fight scenes are really well played out, and not all of them are crazy funny or like crazy intense fight scenes, but I think they're just all working perfectly to bring the film together. And I know I said this earlier, but the personality and uniqueness to this movie was what really sells. Like there's this vegan joke later in the movie when he's fighting another one of the evil exes, and he has to trick the vegan into drinking coffee with real milk, and the vegan police show up and arrest him for breaking his veganness, and I think it's just really funny and well played out joke. Also during this sequence, it shows up Brie Larson's character, who was Scott Pilgrim's ex in the beginning of the film, and it acts like she's supposed to be this big bad or something, but honestly it doesn't feel like she plays that big of a role in the film. And I'm not talking like screen time or anything, I just mean her overall significance, because it seemed like there was a lot of build up in the first act just referencing her character. I guess the payoff just wasn't as big. So the next evil ex at this next fight scene is where this like big stage where these two video game characters like this dragon thing, and it looks so cool, like this fight. Even though Scott Pilgrim himself and the two exes aren't the ones like actually fighting, these two scenes, these two video game characters that are being created by the rock band is so cool. It's like a music competition, but also creating two video game characters showdown thing. That looks super cool. The artistic nature in the film is really nice, and I think that's really unique about this. So after this battle, Ramona Ramona Flowers gets back together with one of her old exes who is like this big businessman, I guess you could say, and he ends up signing a deal with the other members of Scott's band, and they were like his best friend, and his world seems to have fallen apart. So here, after them being signed to Gideon was his name, is that the band this time is playing without Scott Pilgrim and gets a gig at Gideon's venue. Scott Pilgrim then shows up to try and win back Ramona Flowers from Gideon, the ex she got back together with after that video game fight style thing. Sorry, I don't know if I explained it that well, but yeah. So this next fight scene is really cool. It's very hand-to-hand combat. Yes, it still has that video game style of fighting, and I really like it because he admits to falling in love with Ramona Flowers, so he unlocks this power of love sword, and it's very similar to how you unlock stuff in a video game. And again, this is just really cool. It adds to the video game art style of the film, and Scott Pilgrim actually ends up dying during this fight, and he finds himself where he first dreamed about Ramona Flowers in this kind of desert area in his dreams. And then he ends up learning what he should have been fighting for in the first place in the previous fight. He gains an extra life, so he redeems it, goes back to the venue. Basically, this whole sequence happens over again, except this time he learns the power of self-respect and gains the self-respect sword, which I think is really funny and really cool. You know, so he makes amends with Ramona Flowers and Knives, the girl he was previously dating and cheated on, you know, to date Ramona Flowers. And even though I guess it's like an action comedy, there's, you know, somewhat of a sentimental message to it, and you really see that he really is sorry and he does genuinely try to make amends, and it just gives closure to him as a character. And I guess it's just really nice to see a movie that has a sentimental message to it and is also really funny and all that. So he makes amends with the two girls, and then you see like this negative version of Scott Pilgrim, and it makes it seem like they're about to have this big like brawl, but he actually made friends with the evil version of himself, and I guess he once again apologizes to Knives and ends up with Ramona Flowers, which I guess was his dream girl. So yeah, pretty straightforward. I like it. The movie has a lot of cool characters. Like his gay roommate is really funny and sets up a lot of humor for the movie. Same with Scott Pilgrim. He's, I guess, like a very awkward and, you know, relatable teenager in some ways because, you know, he has a weird dating past and he kind of put himself in a hole because he's in his 20s, and I guess he's like, you know, broke or whatever, and he, you know, he needs to deal with and resolve things that he does throughout the film, and he learns himself while fighting all these 7 exes where he sees he's done wrong for the things he's done, and he does eventually apologize for it in the end. Also, Scott's sister, who's played by Anna Kendrick, she's a really likable character and isn't in the movie that much, but she does play a pretty big significance in helping the character Scott Pilgrim in his decision making and also make him realize that he has done wrong, and she's also there to comfort him too when his world seems to have fallen apart. Mona Flowers as a character kind of seems like not the antagonist of the film, but I mean she definitely is like the main conflict of the movie. You know, there's not like too much to say, but there's not much good about her either. She just kind of seems in the way and messing with Scott's emotion a lot of the time. She's not really being very straight up with him, and it, you know, and maybe it just seems like that to me. But in the end, there's a lot of art that goes into making a film, to the music and cinematography, especially the writing, not the story just in writing, but the dialogue as well. And in this movie, it doesn't really seem authentic. Like there's not much authenticity to it. It doesn't seem like real people are always saying these things or acting these things out. And in some parts, I'm not sure how to explain it. But if you watch the movie, maybe you'll get what I'm talking about. But since the film isn't exactly clear on if this takes place in like a fictional world or a video game world of some sort, you know, because it does take place in Canada, but it doesn't really say if it's realistic or not. The dialogue can be kind of shaky at some point. The main takeaways and critiques I have of the film is, yeah, it's choppiness in the first act. It's shaky dialogue at moments, but its personality, humor, and very unique action and art style is definitely worth the watch. It's just an overall really fun movie. I would definitely watch it again. If you haven't watched it, boot up Amazon Prime and go watch it. Jacob, again, man, this one was for you. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Please subscribe, like, leave a comment below. Definitely check out my latest song if you haven't already. Don't forget to let me know which movies you guys would want me to review next and later. I'll see you guys. Peace out.